Hi guys, Kim here with another video for you. Today I thought I'd share with you how to make, or how I make my hot foot powder. There are lots of recipes online giving you various ways to make it. There is no right or wrong way. You make it the way that you feel you want to make it. Find the recipe that works for you. This is just how I do it. As well as doing the powder, I'm going to make an oil as well at the same time. This particular batch, I just want to say, is just a general batch that's just going into my stash. It's not being made to be used on anyone in particular. I would just rather have it in my stash there to use and not need it, rather than need it and find I haven't got the ingredients to make it. Hot foot powder is traditionally a hoodoo powder, and the idea is to push people away from you. Not in a harmful way. For me, the idea is to use it and to encourage the universe to give them a positive opportunity that takes them out of your immediate circle or out of an area you live in. Be it that they get a promotion, which means they've got to move to a different area to work, or they come into more money, which means they can afford a property in another area they were looking at. Maybe it's an ex-partner who's been harassing you in some way and they find a new relationship to move on to, which means you're left alone. But you get the idea. The idea is you want to encourage the universe to give them a positive situation that's going to take them out of your life. We don't want to cause harm to these people. We just want them away from us. And you can use it in, like I say, in a powder. And the idea is when you sprinkle it on the floor, and you walk backwards, you walk away from it. You don't want to be walking through it. You can sprinkle it on doorsteps, where you know they're going to walk. Put it into a water, spray it on door handles or something you know they're going to touch. But always apply the powder and then walk away from it as you're doing so. I will also do a blog post to accompany this, and in that I will pop in some links to other recipes, the way other people are using hot foot powder, so as that you can see what they're using in theirs. So what I'm using, what I add into mine, is I have got sulphur, which I will say I've already added to my mini cauldron where I'm going to mix it, just because the pack's a bit awkward, not going to be able to do it one-handed. That's for the oil. I have got some ginger. Let's try not to knock these over. Some chili powder, nice hot chili powder. Cayenne chili pepper. And some cinnamon. And one of the staples of hot foot powder is black pepper. I have also got some graveyard dirt that I'm going to add in, and then I've got the sunflower oil for making the oil. And when I make powders, I use a base powder. This is just sort of how I was originally taught to use to make powders. These can be made in a variety of different ways. In my blog post I will put some links as well where it's showing people using base powders. They are used in Hoodoo as a base to making powders. There are many different ways to make them. Talc's used, cornstarch, arrowroot powder. There is a variety of different ways, and I find that using this, I mean, some of these ingredients like the sulphur can be quite expensive, so it means I can make my powders and they go a bit further. You know, not that I'm being cheap, but I want value for money. I don't want to run out of stuff, and if I can get more, I can make more by using a base powder. My powder that I use, I've got here, is actually a mix of rice flour, talc, and natural chalk that I've found and obviously ground to a powder. So all we need to do is add the ingredients. I'm going to add them to my mini cauldron, so I'm not adding them to something that's going to be used for eating purposes. I'm not going to measure anything. I am just literally going to chuck it in until I think there's enough. I'm probably going to end up with too much of some stuff in there because I'm trying to do it one-handed. So that's the black pepper. Now the chili powder. And the idea is to have a hot powder. The idea is it's hot. It's gonna make them not want to hang around. It's hot underfoot. You know, they're gonna want to move and get away from this heat. Oh. Doesn't seem to want to come out. There we go. Yeah, and just put the amounts in that you feel are right. There's, like I say, there's no right or wrong. Plenty of cayenne. I might put a bit more of that in. There we go. Some ginger, and these are all ingredients that have got a level of spice to them. Obviously the graveyard powder hasn't, and I wouldn't advise eating graveyard powder. So we'll give that a mix. Let's break up those big bits. Those lumps of sulphur. Don't really want any lumps. We want to make a nice powder out of it. And as a warning, don't breathe this in. This is going to burn your nose and your throat if you breathe it in. You've got lots of chilies and peppery bits in here, so it's going to hurt if you breathe this in. And if you've got kiddies, don't let them into this at all. One, again, because of the pepper, it's going to be hot. It's got sulphur in it as well. You don't want this anywhere near the kiddie winks. And I'm going to add some more pepper to that. There we go. Now I'm going to pop in graveyard dirt. Now you can use sort of dried herbs as well, so like dried ginger, dried chili flakes, pepper grounds, anything like that. I just prefer them using the powdered sort of that you can buy in the shops. It's already powdered. I haven't got to grind it and risk breathing it in. And all the time you're doing this, put your intent into it as well. You know, think about people moving away from you, opportunities that they could get that would take them away from you. You know, don't be nasty. Just, you know, think of positive ways that people could leave your life. Yeah, and a lot of people would use a hot foot powder just like this, just as it is. But as I say, I'm going to use a base powder with it as well. And before I add my base powder in, I'm going to make my oil. And quite simply, I'm going to put some of my powder into a jar. How much have we got? I might put a little bit more in there. There we go. And then I'm just going to fill this with oil. Now I'm just using a vegetable, if I can get the lid off, just using a vegetable oil. Really, I should have put the oil in first and then added the powder afterwards, because I've got to shake this up. That was a bad move on my part. Oh, sorry, I was trying to do everything one-handed. There we go, my nice peppery hot for oil. from the bottom there. And to be fair, you could do this with any powder. I mean, if you want to purchase a hot foot powder, by all means do so. But sometimes you'll find buying a powder and oil at the same time can get quite expensive. So, you know, get your powder, pop a bit of that into a jar or a pot, add some oil in it, make your own oil. You know, it doesn't have to, witchcraft doesn't have to be expensive. I'll try and get... I'll carry on shaking that a bit more off camera. But you can see what I've done. You know, I've got a nice amount of oil there, so that can just sort of sit in my stash, ready for if I ever need it. And then so I've got back to my powder that I was doing. I'm just going to add in some of my base powder and just mix that in. So it just means it goes a bit further. You know, I'll make a bit more, end up with a bit more of it without actually using up all my ingredients. And it still looks nice and hot and nice and dark. So a little bit more. And then what I'll do with this, once it's all stirred up, is I'll just pop it in a little jar, pop the lid on, stick it in the stash, and it's there should I ever need it. As I say, I'll do a blog post to accompany this with a lot more links in it, so if you want a bit more information. I'm going to pop this in the jar off camera and pop my intent into it. I hope you've enjoyed what I've done. Any comments, pop them below, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.